Ever had a night where everything seemed normal until it wasn't? These babysitters thought they were in for just another night, but what they experienced left them shaken, terrified, and questioning reality. From creepy whispers echoing down empty hallways to shadows lurking in the dark, these are the stories they'll never forget, and neither will you. So, turn off the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for 3 chilling tales of babysitting gone wrong. It was supposed to be a normal night. Just me, a couple of kids, and a huge, creaky house. The parents left, saying, "Everything's set, the kids are in bed, and if you need anything, our bedroom is down the hall." Simple enough. I settled in, flipped on the TV, and let the hours pass. Around 10 p.m. though, I started hearing sounds from upstairs. I figured one of the kids was having trouble sleeping, so I went up to check. As I crept up the stairs, I noticed a light under the door of a room at the end of the hall. The parents' room. Strange. I was sure they'd turned all the lights off before they left. I walked down the hall and knocked on the door, just in case. No answer. Slowly, I turned the knob and pushed the door open. The room was empty, just a bed, dresser, and some clothes on a chair. But what really got my attention was the closet door. It was slightly open, and a faint light was coming from inside. Against my better judgment, I stepped closer. When I reached the closet, I could hear soft breathing, definitely human. I thought maybe one of the kids was hiding, playing some prank. So with my heart racing, I yanked the door open. And there, sitting inside the closet, was absolutely nothing. The closet was empty. I let out a breath, laughing nervously at how jumpy I was. But just as I was about to close the closet door, I felt a soft tug on my shirt. I spun around, but no one was there. Goosebumps covered my arms, and I backed out of the room, shutting the door behind me. I was halfway down the hall when I heard the soft creak of the bedroom door opening again. The light under the door was gone, but I could hear breathing, deeper, louder than before. This time, I locked the door to the parents' bedroom and ran downstairs. I huddled on the couch, wide awake until the parents got home. They asked how everything went, and I tried to play it off, not wanting to seem crazy. But when they headed upstairs, I heard one of them say, "That's strange. I thought we'd locked our bedroom closet." I was babysitting for a family I hadn't worked with before. They were really nice, with a quiet little boy named Danny. The parents told me he might be shy, that he usually kept to himself. No problem. I was just there to watch TV and make sure he stayed out of trouble. Around 8 p.m., I realized I hadn't heard a peep from him since I arrived. Figuring I should check in, I called out, "Hey Danny, you okay?" No answer. I went up to his room, knocked, and peeked in. He was sitting in the middle of the floor, staring at the wall. Just staring. He didn't even look at me when I entered. I cleared my throat, trying to get his attention. "Danny, buddy, you okay?" He nodded, but his eyes didn't move from the wall. I shrugged and backed out of the room, figuring he was just in his own little world. An hour later, I heard soft whispering from upstairs. I assumed it was Danny, so I headed up to check on him. As I reached his room, I realized the whispering was coming from somewhere else. It sounded like it was coming from inside the walls. I stopped in front of his door, and as I was about to knock, Danny's voice came from inside, soft and quiet. "She's coming," he whispered. "She's here." My heart skipped a beat, and I opened the door. Danny was in the same spot, sitting cross-legged on the floor, staring at the wall. His voice sounded hoarse, almost like someone else was speaking through him. "She's coming," he repeated, then turned to look at me with wide, glassy eyes. I backed out, mumbling something about getting a glass of water. But as I turned to leave, the door slammed shut behind me. I felt a cold breeze pass by, and when I tried to open the door again, it was locked. From the other side, I heard Danny whisper, "Don't open it." The parents came home later to find me sitting in the hallway, pale and shaken. I told them about the door locking and the whispering, and they exchanged a strange look. "Danny doesn't speak," the mom said quietly. "He hasn't said a word in years." I'd babysat a few times at this house. The kids were sweet, but the house itself was unsettling. It had this old-fashioned charm with vintage wallpaper, antique furniture, and an attic door that sat slightly open at all times. One night, after putting the kids to bed, I heard soft footsteps overhead. The attic. I froze, listening, hoping it was just the house settling. But the footsteps continued, slow and steady, like someone was pacing up there. Trying to ignore it, I went back to watching TV. But a few minutes later, I heard a child giggling. Not just any giggle. This was high-pitched, like a creepy old doll. My stomach turned. I checked on the kids. They were sound asleep. So, it wasn't them. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and decided to go check the attic. As I climbed the narrow stairs, each step creaked louder than the last. Finally, I reached the door, which was now completely open. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The attic was empty, just dusty old furniture covered in sheets. But then I noticed something in the far corner. An old porcelain doll with wide, unblinking eyes and a faded smile. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me. Just as I was about to leave, I heard that giggle again. And this time, it came from the doll. My heart nearly stopped. I backed away, trying to keep my eyes on the doll, but I tripped over something on the floor. As I picked myself up, I realized it was another doll, identical to the one in the corner. How had it gotten there? I ran out of the attic, slamming the door behind me. But as I turned to go downstairs, I heard the attic door creak open again, followed by that same giggling. I didn't dare look back. When the parents got home, I asked them about the doll. The mom frowned, saying, "We don't keep any dolls in the attic." I couldn't help but laugh nervously, brushing it off. But every time I close my eyes, I see that porcelain face and hear that high-pitched giggle echoing through the attic.